What's going on, everyone? Max Forte with another video. Today it's going to be something a little different. I hope everyone is coping the best they can with this whole COVID-19 coronavirus stuff. I know it's kind of hard, but we hope to bring you a little bit of happiness and joy through today's video. It's Kilian 101. I have Steve Assous. He is the brand knowledge, the brand educator from Kilian here in the North America market. So he's very knowledgeable. I'm happy to have him here with us for the first time. And we're going to talk about Kilian. We're going to talk about a little bit of the history. We're going to talk about a few other things, and we have some nice bonus for you guys. So keep tuning in, and we're coming back right now. So Steve, thanks for joining us today. Give us a little bit of the background on Kilian. If somebody walked into a store and they look at these beautiful bottles, what should someone expect, or what should the customer or the patron expect from Kilian? What should they know about Kilian fragrances?
Absolutely. And first of all, I'm super honored to be here. So thank you for allowing me to join on your
My pleasure.
I think it's a really, really good question that, you have to think about when you think about the Kilian brand. I think a couple of things are really important. One is when you think about the brand, you have to initially know that this guy is a Hennessy, right? So his name is Kilian Hennessy. Well, what does that mean, right? So a couple of things, actually. So one,
what comes to mind first is cognac.
Cognac, right? So
right.
Think of cognac like first, which you never know what's going to happen. I mean, there's a lot of boozy scents in the brand already, right?
Which I love. Definitely my favorites.
I think that's kind of what he's known for, right? Like,
oh yeah,
he's definitely
opulency, opulent, dark, resinous, boozy scents. I think that's what comes to my mind when I think of Kilian fragrances.
Without a doubt. I mean, a lot of my friends, they would agree with you, and when you think about this Hennessy aspect, right? So this is a guy that grew up in the Hennessy castle, right? Like,
wow.
He had a lot of experiences. So if I had to talk to you about the brand, really like what to expect, I would break it down into four things, right? So the first thing would be that there's really beautiful, meaningful stories and inspirations that come to life from the brand. And it's a point of difference, because this is Kilian really telling his stories, right? So, what he experiences when he travels. I mean, Moonlight in Heaven, everyone knows this fragrance. A lot of people don't know that this was inspired by a trip that he took to Thailand, right?
Wow.
Where he had this coconut mango sticky rice dessert. So, I think first and foremost, like, these meaningful, beautiful stories are
attached to each creation.
Absolutely. And I think it's important, a lot of times you see fragrances and what's the inspiration, right? And here you can't even tell what's in the fragrance from the name. Think about it. Like, you'll never really if you took a random person off the street and said, what's in Straight to Heaven?
Right.
Like, you would need to really understand the story. So I think that for one would be the first. I think the second one is really this idea that true luxury lasts forever. And,
this
speaks to the fact that all of the bottles at Kilian are refillable, right? They open.
Oh, why? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So every single fragrance that we make, you're able to refill it. So the first time you make a purchase, you'll probably get it in the full presentation. And the second time, you just need a refill. So, I mean, that's a point of difference, right?
Very important.
The third,
not many brands are doing that, which is great value.
No, it's I think it's one of the only ones I can think of where every fragrance has that ability. And I think the third one really has to talk about this idea that fragrance is invisible. And I think if you think about it, I'm wearing a fragrance right now. None of your viewers can see that I'm wearing it, and so are you. I'm sure you're wearing them. I mean, you have like a library behind you, right? So no one can see fragrance. So how do you make fragrance visible? And I think this is an obsession that Kilian has. And it comes to life in many ways. So one is, when you purchase a Kilian fragrance, it comes in the beautiful coffret or beautiful clutch. And I think the newest way, and just because I have this in front of me, is with the lipsticks, right? The Rouge Parfum. I mean, these are scented lipsticks. They're scented with Love, Don't Be Shy. But here, when you wear this now, fragrance becomes visible. So, he's done a lot of things. He's done scented jewelry,
scented kiss,
right? So Definitely those three. And then I think the last one is this idea of playfulness. I think the Kilian brand is very playful. When you walk into a Kilian store, right now, like to go back to your original question, you walk into the Kilian store, you see a bar, which by the way is a replica of the bar from the Hennessy Castle, right? And
Wow.
you're greeted with a shot on the house, which is a fragrance, by the way, not an alcohol.
Right.
Um, you're greeted with a menu of services. So there's really this Uber-Luxe experience that's tied to the brand. Um, and I think the playfulness comes about not just in the names of the fragrance. I mean, Vodka on the Rocks, Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? I think they also come to life through the behavior and the way we are, right? Through our service. So I think if I had to pick four things, those would be the four things that make the brand different.
And so Hennessy dived into the fragrance making or the fragrance world, as it were, back in what, 2009?
2007.
Seven. Okay.
So
I wasn't sure.
yeah. So like basically what happened is, so Kilian grew up in this Hennessy Castle, but of course he wanted to do something on his own. And while he was in school, he was studying communications as a major. And they had to write a thesis on something, and he just randomly chose fragrance. Well, that was not such an easy topic. He had to study under a lot of fragrance noses, and he immediately became hooked. Wanted to start working in fragrance, and he did. So he worked with a lot of other brands that you're familiar with. I don't like to name call and like talk about them.
Sure.
You're certainly familiar with a lot of these brands. You can Google his kind of bio, and it'll bring it up.
Sure.
And he found something that he didn't agree with so much in this world. In this like designer, kind of like more mass world, let's call it, a fragrance, there were a lot of things he didn't agree with. And actually one night he was at the Baccarat Museum in Paris. He was having dinner. He decided to go for a stroll, and by fate, they were doing this late 19th century exhibition on these like fragrance bottles that came in crystal bottles that came in boxes. And at that very moment, he realized that he didn't agree with what he was doing. He wanted to start his own brand. In 2007, the By Kilian brand was born.
Wow.
So that's kind of like how he got into it.
He had an epiphany. So let me ask you this. I know that the viewers will appreciate this. If you had to pinpoint maybe the top seller Kilian fragrance of all time from 2007 until 2020, what would you say perhaps is the number one top selling Kilian, or the top five or top three? Like, what would you recognize as the main players?
Well, I'm
Kilian portfolio.
I'm cheating because I know, right? Because like I have like all the sales globally. So like, so I'm a little bit cheating, but I will tell you what they are. For sure, the number one fragrance that I think right now is the number one seller, the iconic fragrance that in every corner of the world, Max, is the number one seller, Good Girl Gone Bad. I mean, this is like hands down. Doesn't even matter what region of the world you're in. Even in
That's
Dubai,
impressive.
Men are the number one people that buy Good Girl Gone Bad in Dubai, and it's the number one seller.
Do you think they buy to wear them or to give it to their significant others?
I think certainly they're buying it to wear it. We know that they're buying it to wear it.
It's incredible.
I think the culture is a little bit different. Their fragrance has been a part of their culture for hundreds of years. So when they wear fragrance, it's not enough to just wear one. So I'm not saying that they just wear Good Girl Gone Bad, but it's certainly a layer in what
correct.
that they're doing, right? So we know they're wearing 6 or 7 together.
And to be honest with you, Steve, to reiterate that, I'm actually a very big, avid fan of layering. A lot of people in the community that are not very familiar with that concept, they kind of make fun of me. I don't care. I'm a very genuine person. I think if it calls for it, if it's done very tastefully and very, meticulously, you can actually achieve some amazing layers, and I love it. I think Tom Ford private blends talk about that. And I think even Kilian will advocate for that particular, layering option with some fragrances. I think they go very well together, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, we have an entire service dedicated to this, which really was inspired by the Middle East, and it's called mixology. And our mixology service basically teaches you this, right? Like, how do you layer? Now, I know you said that a lot of people in the community, they kind of look like they frown upon it.
Well, what they say is that fragrances were meant to be enjoyed to the fullest on their own. And I can see that. But there's a fine line. I think depending on creations, you can actually enhance the experience if you layer them. I completely agree with that.
And by the way, I'm totally on board with you. And I think here's the thing. Yes, fragrance is a work of art on its own, right?
Correct.
But then there's this idea of, why do you wear a fragrance? So like, let's take it down to like the basic concept of, why do people wear fragrance? Well, to me at least, and it's my opinion, yeah, doesn't mean you have to agree, but to me, you wear fragrance because of how it makes you feel, right? This is like the core of why people wear fragrance. So if you want to feel a certain way, but then you want to amplify this olfactive trail, sometimes you need to be creative. And
Exactly.
I think this idea of, I also want to wear something
Unique.
that no one else has.
Exactly.
You know, like again, I don't talk about other fragrances, but I have been addicted so much to so many fragrances that have been on the market. And you never really want anyone else to wear what you wear. And you definitely want to be in the same room with them. So I think what's happening right now in the Middle East, that by the way, everyone around the world is learning from, and I definitely think this will happen here, right? Where now you kind of do interesting things with your fragrance that you like, that's unique to you, that no one can copy you. I mean, I will tell you, in the Middle East, not only are they wearing 6 different fragrances, but they're using 2 or 3 different lotions, and then they put their clothing on something called a makbara, which is this device that you burn oud. Why do they do this? Because the smoke has the oud scent. It's called bakhur. And bakhur then goes into your clothing. So not only do you have the 7 fragrances, not only the 3 lotions, but
and you have your scented clothes with that bakhur. Sure.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, Stephen. And I think the 3 reasons why I wear fragrance, you know, speaking for myself, is, of course, you want to feel great about yourself. It makes you, it just puts you in a different state of mind depending on how you feel. You want something bright, citrus. You want something heavy, dark. It just depends on your mind. It's just going to make you feel a certain way. The way you want people to perceive you, depending on how you wear your fragrance. And of course, you want to be unique. You want something that's going to be like your signature. You know, when you walk in, you walk out, wow, Steve was here, man. I can smell him. You know, that's his signature scent. So for, I think, all those reasons, you want to be unique. And I think layering is a great option to achieve that.
Yeah, and I'll just add one like final comment on it, because by the way, this is probably one of the best topics in the world of fragrance.
I love it.
To talk about, because I mean, you couldn't have like asked or brought up something better, because you can talk for days about this, right?
Oh yeah.
But let's have this impression in our head right now that you're a customer that wears the same fragrance, right? And you continue to wear your same fragrance. After your 5th, 6th time buying this bottle, it's not that you're bored, but something is missing, right?
Yes.
You want to add a little bit to
spark or
to romance. So the idea behind the Kilian mixology service is, 1, to make these amazing recommendations on how to increase your projection, your olfactive trail, how to create variations of the scent that you love, and really match it to your lifestyle. So, you know, if I wear, you know, I don't know, Straight to Heaven during the day, but then I want to wear Straight to Heaven when I go out at night, but I want it to have a little bit more of a kick.
Right.
What can you do for me? Right.
Exactly.
And this is kind of where this whole service is born. Good Girl Gone Bad Again. It is the #1 selling fragrance.
Straight Great to know. I haven't tried it, by the way. I need to try it.
Oh, it is. It's iconic. It's
but I don't mean to cut you. You were saying Straight to Heaven is #2.
Straight to Heaven's #2, right? So Straight to Heaven is definitely #2. Even though I will say, and I can officially say, that it is very close to being dethroned by Black Phantom, which is a fragrance that launched in 2017. That is, I mean,
I've tried it. It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now, what are your 3, if you had to talk about the mixology a little bit, because that interests me a lot, and I know a lot of the viewers do love it, because I had a series on the channel called New Blends, which people enjoyed. So if you had to say your personal favorite layers options with mixology with Kilian fragrances that you enjoy, that you would share with us, please.
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing about Kilian mixology is Kilian has created different mixes. And by the way, there's only
like recipes, if you will.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And there's only 4, right?
Oh, wow.
So it's not that it's kind of like, oh my God, go crazy with the fragrance.
Right.
It's more of there is something that's been tested by Kilian that he approves, that he wants you to do. The first one, which I think is probably the most popular one amongst males, but really we don't see gender in fragrance, is Black Phantom with Intoxicated, right? Like I mean, if you
Wow.
think about Intoxicated, it's an inspiration of this moment in Turkey, in Istanbul, of Kilian having Turkish coffee. Um,
Oriental gourmand, right? So it's like a match made in heaven between the two.
Absolutely, because Black Phantom has Irish cream coffee also. It also has,
Exactly.
so they smell fantastic. I think the other three, so you have, first of all, Love Don't Be Shy with Vodka on the Rocks, which is fantastic. You have Good Girl Gone Bad with The Woman in Gold, which
Wow.
I think is probably one of the more popular ones with Black Phantom and Intoxicated. And then the latest one is You Can Wear Straight to Heaven with Flower of Immortality, right? And this really introduces another facet. Now, when we say wear them together, we go a little bit deeper, right? So it's not just, oh my God, spray them on, right?
Right.
So we actually have like a process, right? So we have three different ways you can wear them. The first way is, yes, you can spray one spray of each, doesn't matter which one goes first, and wear it where you like. The second way, we like to call the weapon and the shield. And by the way, to
Gotcha.
give you context why, so the sides of all our bottles have a motif. That is actually the shield of Hector and Achilles. The reason this is there,
Oh,
um,
wow.
yeah, a lot of people don't know. This is
I
there.
didn't know.
Kilian believes that you can wear fragrance in two ways. As a shield of protection, what does that mean? That it protects you, right? You get on a plane, there's a lot of smells. You want to feel
Sure.
protected. You want to feel comfortable. Or you can wear fragrance as a weapon of seduction, right? Like
Oh, makes sense.
I want to seduce. So weapon and shield is you spray one of them on your wrist, but you spray the other one where you like to be kissed. So on your neck. That way the people closest to you smell one, and then people around you smell the other. And then the third way is you can wear them day and night, right? So I can wear one during the day. And then at night, before I go out, I just spray the other one over. So we do have different ways that we teach the customer how can you really mix and be creative and again, make it fit into your lifestyle.
Correct. And your personality. Absolutely.
No.
So I wanted to do a little bonus here because you guys do have a new release coming out. So I wanted to share with the viewers. They will appreciate this, I'm sure. So why don't you tell us the newest release that's coming out and tell us a little bit about it? And again,
Yeah.
it's going with, one of the top sellers, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we are so excited about this. I think stores are closed right now, so a lot of people don't even know that this is available. But Good Girl Gone Bad Fraiche.
Nice.
Notice that there's a new packaging here, right? So this is really exciting if you're someone that's familiar with the brand. The fragrance itself is, a lot of people, when they think of Eau Fraiche, they immediately think of lighter, doesn't last as long. It's really not what's happening here, right? So first of all, you'll notice the bottle is frosted. The inspiration here is really a trip that Kilian took to Greece where, when he was at this villa and the windows are open, and there's a breeze, and this breeze carries with it the flowers from the Mediterranean, the ocean, and you get this burst of freshness. Now, Good Girl Gone Bad never had a top note, so there are no
Wow.
citrus ingredients in it. What's different here is that Kilian introduces a top note for the first time. It's a water jasmine and neroli. It smells, I mean, I wish you can smell this. We'll definitely have to send you some, right? So that you can experience it. But this is one that is, by the way, limited edition.
Oh, wow.
And again, it doesn't come with a case. So the price is actually a little bit less. This is $210. So it's actually priced a little bit differently than the rest of our fragrances. And again, this is the 5-star launch. If you have to think like what's the 5-star launch right now for spring, definitely.
This is it.
Oh yeah.
Definitely androgynous, right? A gentleman or a lady can pull it off beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, I think when people hear Good Girl Gone Bad, like the name sometimes throw you off.
Throw you off.
Like you don't want to tell people, yeah, I'm wearing Good Girl Gone Bad. But then again, you don't have to tell people what you're wearing.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think for me, I've been wearing this one. The Good Girl Gone Bad Extreme, which is really like the other end of the spectrum in the world of Good Girl, that has like a little bit more of a deeper, darker toffee accord. to me is definitely something I'm more comfortable wearing because it's got that like sweet kind of sexiness. This one is just fresh. It is floral, right? So it's definitely a floral.
It's got some citrus, you said. So you would say maybe it's like a citrus floral aromatic type of a scent?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It opens up bright, but then it dries down to a floral. So if you're someone who's like, maybe I'll, I don't like florals, but I want to, you might not like it, right?
Gotcha.
Just to be totally
Of
transparent.
course. And
Um,
there's something for everyone. You guys have such a wide
yeah,
spectrum in your portfolio that if you don't like that one, there's something you're gonna like for sure. Like I said before we started the recording, I'm a Oriental, woody, spicy kind of a guy, so I tend to go for the darker, heavier scents. But you guys certainly have Eau Fraiche, and you have certain other. I think there's Bamboo Harmony. There's a ton of great options for people that do like florals or more citrus-like scents.
without a doubt. And you know what? I will just, I'll just show you a little something really quickly since we're together on the screen. You can see this, right? The olfactive families. So
Yes,
really,
absolutely.
so really, like at Kilian, there are 4 different families of fragrances, right? So you've got the fresh that are more like clean. You've got the narcotics, which
I
are
can
also,
see people do enjoy the narcotics a lot more because that's the biggest variety of fragrances.
for sure. The narcotics are a big category, but these are the florals that have a twist.
Gotcha.
Really, when I think about the way you described, like kind of what you like in the fragrance, certainly the cellars, right? The cellars
For
are,
my taste.
yeah. This category is inspired directly by the Hennessy cellars, where they used to keep the cognac barrels. So you think woods from the barrels, but the sweetness of the cognac, and then you have the smoke. So, definitely, I think the narcotics lean a little bit more feminine, yeah, for sure. But then again, we have a lot of women that wear straight to heaven, right? A lot of women come into the cellar. So,
That's awesome. It's good to know. Great information. And since we're talking about new releases, new launches, um, since Mother Day is right around the corner, what would you say to our women viewers out there, or for guys that want to give their moms a present or whatever,
yeah.
or husbands, their wives? What are some options? Let's talk about top five great Mother's Day options from Kilian's collection.
Number one, Good Girl Gone Bad. And the reason being is the inspiration of this fragrance is Kilian's own mother and the
Oh, wow.
memory that he has with his mother. When Kilian was growing up, his first scent memory of his mother was that she wore tuberose. And like her sisters wore tuberose, and thinking about when he met his wife, they went on their first date. She said, "I only wear a tuberose." So tuberose became like such an important ingredient for Kilian. And thinking about Mother's Day, thinking about this like inspiration, thinking about our number one selling fragrance, you got to go Good Girl Gone Bad, right? Whether you're going the extreme, whether you're going the fresh, however you can get the Good Girl Gone Bad, I think certainly it's a beautiful choice. My second one, I love the names of the fragrances. I think that the names are what makes this brand unique.
Kilian has certainly the most creative and inspiring names in the industry. There's no question about it. It
Yeah.
really captivates and it gets people going. It makes people curious about the brand. There's no question about it.
I think it's also about like emotion. Like if you think about it,
Yes.
you want to express yourself in a way. You can't have when Kilian was working with these other brands, in this let's just call it the mass world, right? They would always say the name of the fragrance has to be one word that's
Wow.
easy for everyone to understand. And like sit back, take a moment, think about this world of mass. How many fragrances can you think of that actually this is true? All the fragrances have one word. They're meant to be very transactional. They're meant to be easy to understand. Well, for Kilian, I think so much goes into creating the fragrance, whether it's his emotion, whether it's the storytelling aspect, like a director, right? You're directing first a story
Right.
and then you make a fragrance. Which is, by the way, why some of our fragrances have 2 names: Straight to Heaven, White Crystal, right? Love,
Right.
Don't Be Shy. Because he wanted to not only just give it one name, but give it 2 names just to go against this idea. And I think for me, like when I started working with this brand, it's just about the same time that I met my wife. And I remember like the first fragrance I gifted her, which is, by the way, my number 2 option for
Okay.
Mother's Day. and it's Love Don't Be Shy. To
Okay.
me, this is a fragrance that the name itself spoke volumes, and it just made my life a lot easier, right?
Sure. Sure.
Especially when I was in this courting stage. But I think love is such a powerful word to have a fragrance called love. By the way, this fragrance has had so much hype over the last year. I don't know if you've heard about like celebrities and which ones were what fragrance, but we were literally sold out of Love Don't Be Shy almost all of last year
Wow.
because a certain someone was rumored to have been
So,
wearing it.
and it just took off.
I mean, this is an incredible fragrance. It's inspired by, it's got a marshmallow. So this is certainly a fragrance that is playful. It's fun. It's got the name. To me, excellent choice for Mother's Day. Um, the third one, I'd go with this one, Rolling in Love, right? The bottle's red. The scent is incredible. I mean, probably one of my favorites. I talk about this all the time. And it's one of our newer fragrances, right? So this is an incredible fragrance for Mother's Day, beautiful packaging. My fourth would have to be a Le Rouge Parfum lipstick,
Okay.
right? Like
Great
this is,
option.
yeah, I mean, again, they're red, they're scented with love, which like our fragrance love. Great price point, amazing lipstick, and just makes a great gift. So I think there's definitely a lot of options. I can't think of a fifth because everything else to me is kind of like
Okay. So that's fine.
you can like
Top
go,
four choices.
but I will tell you that you bringing up Mother's Day, you know, the one thing that I will tell you that we do have is we have a menu of services, right? And I always have this next to me because I love talking about the service you get at Kilian. One of our services is a gifting service. Now, for those of you guys watching right now, you guys are probably interested maybe, but the stores are closed, right? So you can't go right now and get an experience and have someone talk to you. Well, what we've launched, and I'm happy to show this to you because I think this is incredible. We've launched a very cool way for you to have a consultation from the comfort of your home. And that is, so what you're looking at on the screen now, I don't know if you can see this, but it's our Kilian Paris virtual bar. It's on Facebook. So if you have a Facebook, you just have to put Kilian Paris virtual bar in the search tab. It'll come up. You can choose what kind of service you want to have. You can actually choose the appointment that you want to have, and you will actually have a live consultation
It's
with the
incredible.
Kilian ambassador. By the way, it's free. And at the end of this consultation, you get a promo code, right, that you can use on the By Kilian website with no purchase minimum. So you might want to buy this lipstick. Why not get it at a discount and just have an ambassador help you choose a color? And when you purchase off our website, they run so many amazing promotions. I mean, I think right now you get a Good Girl Gone Bad 7.5 ml, which is our travel size, as a gift, along with the hand cream. I mean, there's just too many reasons to shop online right now.
Now, does Kilian have a discovery kit or discovery set if people are interested in, getting their feet wet, so to speak, with the brand? Can they get like a discovery kit with maybe a few of the offerings for them to try out before committing to a full bottle? Is that something that is offered?
Absolutely. We have, we call them like the discovery sample sets that we sell. And then one of my favorite products, it happens in December though, so they're going to have to stay tuned for it. But one of my favorite products is the Kilian Discovery Set in September, where you get the atomizer with 8 different top seller fragrances.
Incredible.
It's like a holiday thing. But yeah, we have that sample set. And again, the website has so many things. I always hear people talking about fragrances that, by the way, are retired. They talk about fragrances like Smoke for the Soul and Light My Fire, or they like our boutique exclusives like Apple Brandy. But not all these stores carry that, right? So
Right.
our Kilian website, they've got everything, and a lot of these things that are retired are still in stock.
Wow.
So I definitely think that's always like a good place to go to kind of shop around.
Good to know. Great information here. Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate it. I think this was very enlightening to get to know a little more about the brand and, the man behind the brand, all the different, selections and options that we certainly have with Kilian. Definitely one of my favorites, guys. Stay tuned to the channel. Of course, there'll be more to come. Hopefully, we'll actually bring Mr. Hennessy to one of,
Yes.
future, conversations that we'll have in the near future. Steve, do you have anything else you want to add? Anything we forgot to talk about and touch upon?
Oh, this was amazing. And I just want you to know, Max, like I follow your videos and I follow your channel, and
Appreciate
like,
it.
your fans are super awesome. The people, the comments, and it made me want to be here. And thank you for giving me that opportunity.
My pleasure. It's always a pleasure to continue to bring the community together, especially in times like these. We need more interaction. We need more love spread. So this is definitely a great way to do that and to perhaps bring a little happiness into people's lives. So thanks for being with us, Steve. With that, we're going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. And as always, I'm going to do my little signature thing. Wear what truly moves you.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys soon.